Are your thoughts actually reality, or are they just a story? I mean, that narrative you've got running in your head about your life, your past, what you're capable of, what if it's not the whole truth? Dear book lovers, welcome to another insight-packed book summary episode of Summaripedia. We are here to bring you more titles in less time. And today, oh man, have we got a fascinating book for you. In this explainer, we are going to dive into the incredibly important and super practical lessons from the book Storytelling and Collective Psychology by Darren Kelsey. Trust me, you're going to want to stick around for this one. All right, first up, let's talk about the powerful and often totally invisible stories that shape our lives every single day. So the book's central idea is pretty wild. It says we humans are basically narrative-building machines. Think about it. From the second you wake up, you're constantly telling stories to make sense of the world, who you are, what your purpose is. And these aren't just little bedtime stories, right? They literally build identities. But here's where it gets really interesting, kind of mind-bending, actually. As the philosopher Daniel Dennett put it, for the most part, we don't spin our tales. They spin us. So what does that mean? It means most of the time we aren't consciously writing these stories. They're writing us. Our entire sense of self is just a product of these narratives running on autopilot. So you might be wondering, is this book for me? Well, honestly, it's for just about anyone. If you have any interest in psychology or self-help, you're in. If you're a philosopher or just curious about pop culture, you'll love it. And really, it's for anyone who wants to learn how to tell better stories for themselves and, by extension, for society. Now, this is where the book takes a really cool and unique turn. It explores all these big ideas through the lens of someone you might not expect, the famous psychological illusionist Darren Brown. See, the author argues that Darren Brown is way more than just a performer. He's kind of like a modern-day archetypal magician. And I don't mean pulling rabbits out of a hat. Think of him more like a guide on a journey, someone who reveals the hidden mechanics of our own minds, the stories and beliefs that are really pulling the strings. And this magician has a really provocative question for you. Darren Brown says our pasts are just stories that we tell ourselves in the present. Just let that sink in for a second. Your past isn't some solid, unchangeable fact. It's a story you are actively telling yourself right now. And that, well, that's a total game changer, because it means you have the power to tell a different story. Okay, so if our minds are playing tricks on us and our own stories can trap us, what do? Where's the escape hatch? Well, the book points us toward a powerful toolkit that's been around for over 2,000 years, Stoicism. Now, the author draws really sharp contrast between a lot of the modern self-help industry and this ancient Stoic philosophy. You know how a lot of self-help is all about relentless positive thinking? Well, Stoicism is different. It's not about forcing positivity. It's about building resilience and accepting that, hey, life is tough sometimes. It teaches things like strategic pessimism to actually prepare you for challenges. And get this isn't just some dusty old philosophy. There is a direct line from ancient Stoicism to one of the most effective, evidence-based modern therapies out there, cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. The core idea is exactly the same. It's not events that upset us, but our stories about those events. Okay, so this all sounds fantastic in theory, right? But how do we actually put this into practice? Let's get into the practical steps for rewriting your inner script. All right, probably the most powerful tool from the Stoic toolkit is something called the dichotomy of control. And it's so simple, but it's profound. You just divide everything in life into two buckets, things you can control and things you can't. That's it. All your energy should go only into what you can control. Your thoughts, your actions, everything else you learn to accept. So here's how you can start applying this today. First, try something called negative visualization. It's not about being a downer. It's about preparing yourself for adversity so you can appreciate what you have right now. Second, constantly ask yourself that question, is this in my control? Third, always remember, it's your story, your perception that causes distress, not the event itself. And finally, no matter what happens, focus on acting with virtue and purpose. I love this term Darren Brown uses. He calls our limiting personal stories a private hallucination. It's a perfect description, isn't it? So that brings up a really important question for you to think about. What private hallucination is holding you back? Okay, before we get to the final summary, it's worth knowing a little more about the author who put all these amazing ideas together. So, who is Darren Kelsey? Well, he's a reader in media and collective psychology at Newcastle University, so he really knows his stuff. But what I think makes this book so powerful is that it's not just academic for him, it's personal. He wrote it after dealing with his own anxiety and discovering that incredible link between modern therapy and ancient wisdom for himself.
All right, that was a lot to take in, I know, so let's boil it all down. Here are your key takeaways.
Okay, here it is. Number 1, you are a narrative-building machine, but you have to be careful those stories don't start controlling you. 2, your past isn't a fact, it's a story you can choose to retell. 3, ancient Stoicism is an incredibly practical toolkit for modern life. 4, focus only on what you can control to get their power back. And 5, the big one, if you change your inner story, you absolutely can change your reality. And really, the book leaves us with this incredibly hopeful and empowering final thought. We can tell better stories for a better future. It really puts the power back in our hands, doesn't it? Thanks so much for watching. If you got something out of this, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more impactful book summaries from Summaropedia. We'll see you in the next one.